Hi.
Hey. Maria, you can come and say hi because Dan's on too.
Hi.
Do you have any
Hi.
Dan, is that real? No, it's not. I'm trying to see. Doesn't it look fun, that picture of Jen?
I like that. That's really cool.
Okay. So,
Is that a fake picture?
I know, it looks like a fake picture, doesn't it?
Where are you, Jen? No, I'm kidding.
All right, guys.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but we want to see you. We want to see your face.
I'm trying. I'm on a new phone.
Oh, we're
Okay,
like,
hold on. My new phone. There I am.
like a mannequin.
There you are.
I'm in my car. I'm funny. It's okay.
Oh, I miss you.
I miss you.
We've had an awesome day and a half.
Yeah, we've had a great last 2 days.
Gotta come and learn it too. We gotta find a time.
Yeah, absolutely. I also really want to schedule a session, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, you want to say hi to Mao? You haven't met Mao yet. Here.
Is this Zoom?
I was going to say, that's not Mal, that's Alexander.
Hello.
Hello.
So you are on the way to here? Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit.
Hi.
Oh,
You probably have to get closer.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, well, we'll start our call soon. Now that we're all on the real. Who else is on? Donna is on too. Hey, Donna, how are you?
Hi. I'm good.
Good. And there's somebody, I don't recognize the number. 8446.
And I see Christy and she's talking, but her thing is muted.
Okay.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Nails done.
Ooh.
they look great.
Wow, look, they're shorter.
Did it.
I haven't made it home yet.
All right. Okay, we're gonna start, guys. So I'd love to have a lot of participation because honestly, I didn't do that much. So I want to talk about, well, we've been going all day with this massage and everything else. And so, sorry, Maria's eating. I'm like, it's too loud. So let's talk about sports injury, okay? Because that's what we're really here all for. And I think I shared my experience. I would love to hear some experience, guys, before delving into the product. Is what kind of experience have you had with any sports injury and how Deep Blue has helped? Now, I'm going to let Mao talk first. And he's like, okay, he probably doesn't know that. Yeah, so I thought. So, Mao, come on. Tell us a little bit about sports injury. What kind of things have happened with
A lot of people are crazy these days. They have injury everywhere for everything.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Gotta get close and talk louder.
We know you can talk louder than that.
Yeah? You want me to scream? So I work with a lot of athletes with Deep Blue. Because everyone can have an injury. It's very only thing you have to be tired. So I use Deep Blue always in the effect of eyes. Where I work with masotherapy, it's very good. And I always use it. Except right now I don't have more.
So what oil have you used most?
I don't have.
No. In general, what oils do you use most? Yeah, but they don't know.
Okay.
Mhm.
I use more the oils I'm more comfortable with. The white orange, the lemon.
Can you be a little louder, please? I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you gotta be really loud right now.
Yes, yell.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The oils I more use are the wild orange, the deep blue, the lemongrass, the lemon too, the peppermint. I love the peppermint. The aroma touch too, but it's basic. Those ones I use in my massages. I have others, but people in my country don't really appreciate that. So I use it in the feet, on the back, the way they can really feel it. But those they really like are those I said.
Okay. Awesome. Do you guys have any questions as we're starting out this for Mal? Or any experiences, guys?
I have lots of my own experiences with sports injuries with Ella, if you want me to touch on that.
Yeah, I would love for you to touch on that. Maybe one that's a big one for you, Jen?
Okay. I mean, most people know that I love lemongrass, marjoram, and frankincense, but with Ella, she's used that combination a lot. We've used deep blue oil and the deep blue rub, but I have to say the deep blue polyphenol complex, the supplement, is something she absolutely loves. You know, it's easy. She'll use oils topically, but she takes the deep blue supplement every day. And that's been really, you know, as a competitive dancer, her body is kind of abused. She has some issues with her hips. We like Aroma Touch for that. And she's had a rib that tends to go out of place, and that's what we've used the deep blue on mostly. And it's also, not only does it help with the pain and with the healing, but it also really helps with the anxiety and the stress of it.
Awesome. Maria has something she wants to share too. Thanks, Jan. And I know that's a big one because you've had so many different injuries with her and with sports teams and everything else too, right? I want to talk about the deep blue polyphenol complex in just a second. I do have that. So let's talk about that too. Here's Maria. She has experience too.
Hi. My experience was when I had my tendonitis after when I reoccurred the injury in my yoga program. So Jenny gave me blue and lemongrass, which I enjoyed. And then later I tried the 3 combo, but personally I just learned the hard way that I have to make sure I'm wise with the over diluting of the lemongrass. That be sensitive to the lemongrass. So I'm pretty sure everyone has had their own personal story of a moment where they've enjoyed an oil and they've learned the hard way that it needs to be diluted more. So
how do you use it? What do you use?
Just a couple drops of the lemongrass with the deep blue.
And where did you put it? Like you said in here?
Just on my elbow. Like I actually have some, you can see I have really sensitized my skin because of the too much lemongrass. So, okay. So yeah.
So dilution is good. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Maria. Anybody else before we go into the product? Megan, you must have an experience.
I was actually just going to chime in. So when I go running, I tend to run pigeon-toed, which is not very good. I've been trying to focus on fixing that, obviously, because that's a long-term problem. But because of that, my ankles tend to be really sore after I go for a run, especially in my right leg. And so what I like to do is layer on a little bit of deep blue oil. And lately I've actually been using the Touch oil, the one that's already pre-diluted in the roller bottle. And so I roll some of that on. And then I like to put a little bit of rub on, the deep blue rub lotion on top of that. And so then that helps me, kind of warm up the muscles and feel, a lot of soothing before I go on my run, just to prime it. And then after my run, if I am, feeling a little bit sore, which honestly, since I started doing it before the run, that's helped quite a bit, even just to, not even feel pain after the run. And so, but if I am feeling a little bit of pain in my right leg, especially my right ankle, that's usually where I feel it, then I'll put a little bit of deep blue rub on afterwards, usually after I shower, just because I don't like the shock of the cold when I get in the shower. But the deep blue rub has helped quite a bit with just the pain that I feel from running a little bit pigeon-toed. And Also, I banged up my legs pretty good back in November. And for that, Deep Blue wasn't quite the right thing for that. But I used a mixture of lemongrass, marjoram, and frankincense, and that was amazing. So that's another really good blend for pain. And I use that quite often. And so especially that lemongrass, it's amazing for pain.
Awesome. Love those too. Well, let's dive into some products that I really want to just highlight. I think my story, I think most of you have heard this maybe, but I really had just a calf injury, right? It was very interesting. I just tore my muscle there. But it really didn't go better for a while. And then I said to myself, Anna-Marie, what are you doing? It was funny because it was almost like I asked for an experience, right? I asked for an experience with the oils because my life was actually getting too healthy. I was like, I used the oils, but I didn't really find I needed to use them as much anymore. And so I got right away what I asked for. And kind of while I was running, I really hurt myself. And then I wasn't really using the oils that much. And then I finally said to myself, Anna-Marie, what you doing? And I started using a Deep Blue about every hour and for about 2 days. And that's what did it. That's what really made it go away, including some frankincense internally as well. So I just had to get serious again about the oils. So I want to share my screen right now for a second. Donna, were you going to say something? I just muted you because there was some background noise. If you do, then just unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself. Okay, you can also talk in the chat, Donna, if that's better. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here for a second, and let's talk about a couple of products, and I'd love to have some opinions here from you guys about this. So this one first, Deep Blue. Deep Blue, what's in there? Wintergreen, camphor, peppermint, ylang-ylang, helichrysum, blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus. I can almost say them by heart nowadays. I don't know all the oils by heart, but this one I really can. It is very minty, and you put it on your lower back muscles after a day of heavy lifting at work or when you have to move. It's perfect for a soothing massage after a long day or as housework, and you can apply it on the feet and knees before and after exercise. I think a lot of people think mostly about Deep Blue, about the Deep Blue rub, but you can actually also have it in the oil form. Okay, hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna go for a quiet place for just a second. You can also really have it on, you can also use the rub really, really well on, you can use the rub very well, but the oil is also very good. And there's two ways to use the oil, right? Often people ask me if they have a lot of pain, how to use the oil versus the rub. I often like to layer it. I don't know what you guys like to do. I love to layer the rub and I love to layer first the oil and then the rub on top. I haven't used a lot of the touch method, the Deep Blue touch. Anybody has done that? Anybody can talk towards that one?
Yeah, I love the Deep Blue touch. I got it with my LRP a couple months ago, and I always have it with me. It's so easy to use.
So
I use it on, well, I take it to work with me, and I get a lot of back pain, sometimes. So I will just, go into my office and roll it on my back. It's already diluted, so I don't have to worry about anything.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, actually, so I'd like to share, just totally add to that because I love the Deep Blue touch as well. And I used it a ton last week. So I think for like the past couple months, that's been the promo where you get the free Deep Blue touch. And so I have a couple of them, but last week I almost used all of it. Just walking around Disney World and stuff, all those parks and stuff with my family, just walking around miles and miles every day. And I wasn't used to it. And so I had a lot of lower back pain just from walking around all day. And I kept that little roller bottle of Deep Blue touch with me the whole stinking day. And like everywhere we went, like after rides, after just sitting on benches and stuff, like I would just sit there and start rubbing on Deep Blue. And it was amazing how fast it worked. And so I have to say that, yeah, that one, like even though in my mind, I don't usually like to dilute oils, but that one actually it's so effective. So, I mean, honestly, yeah, even if an oil's diluted, it's still going to be very effective. And so I love the Deep Blue Touch.
One thing I like about the Touch and any of the doTERRA 10 mil rollers is that they're very wet rollers. And it's not like you need to soak an area, but with the Deep Blue Touch, I do love for the lower back, you know, it's easy. You swipe it on there and a fair amount comes out. I don't know. It's easy to use. I like the Deep Blue Touch roller.
Okay.
I agree.
Because I never have tried it much, so I do have it. So it's like, but I just haven't used it much. But you guys are convincing me, so I'm like, okay, I'll probably dive into it. All right. Any other uses for the Deep Blue? I know that's one of the most common ones, but is there anything that stands out to you in all the experiences that you've had with Deep Blue that you really said, well, this was a time where it kind of was?
Well, you've definitely touched on before that it's also good. It's you know, it's the soothing blend. So not only is it good for pain, but it's also relaxing. You know, there's a certain amount of soothing properties and energy to it. So we've absolutely used it for pain, but it, you know, is also soothing in other ways.
Awesome. Okay, I want to talk, because Jen, you also talked about the Deep Blue polyphenol complex. So I just want to go for a moment in that. Are you guys seeing this, by the way, the Deep Blue polyphenol complex concept? Are you seeing my screen? Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So let's just talk for a second about that one, because I find that it's a lot of times when we use it and we don't always know what's in it. So just want to kind of do a review there, because it is different than the oil and it's also different than the rub. By the way, there are a couple of components in the rub that some people don't like. So if you really want, there's a couple of things that people have very sensitive skin. Some people might have trouble with the rub. So just to keep in mind that if you don't like that, some of the irritants to the skin that are in the rub, that could be irritants in the skin, are not in the oil. So if you have a concern about that, or if you have a little bit of a problem anyway with skin, you can try the Deep Blue rub. If you do have a reaction to it, then use the oil, okay? Because there are a couple of different components in there. So keep that in mind. So don't throw away the Deep Blue if you have some kind of issue with the Deep Blue rub. The smells are also a little bit different and the effect is a little bit different. Deep Blue rub has a little more of a cold sensation. So keep that in mind as well. So the Deep Blue polyphenol complex, that's a unique blend of Indian frankincense, I didn't know that, Boswellia serrata, along with turmeric and ginger, okay? It's been used for its soothing properties. And it's also been used a lot in the traditional, of course, Ayurvedic practices of India. This develops a very unique and standard Boswellia. Megan, I think our guest is here. Would you mind making this upstairs? Oh, she's getting it. I'm so happy. Okay, I'm having too much going on today, guys. I'm sorry. But Megan is an awesome help here. So, like frankincense, turmeric, right, has been used a lot in Ayurvedic practice. And it's also really a part of that Indian curry. And ginger root is also really important in Asia and also has many health benefits. So if you think about the polyphenol complex, think about those three things, the Indian frankincense, along with turmeric and ginger. It's different than the oil. These are extracts, so they're different. And the best example I have of the difference is with my kids and also with my mom, where she had a sprained wrist, and we put the Deep Blue rub on it, and it worked. It suited it. But when she started using this polyphenol complex, within 2 days, all the swelling was down. And you saw it almost the next day, it was already better. And 2 days later, the swelling was all down. And she had no pain anymore. So that was a kind of radical. And I find the same with Elsa with sports injury, my daughter Elsa, who does a lot of sports as well, just like Jen's daughter. And I have found that if she uses the polyphenol complex more on a regular basis, she has less injury. And so I want to touch for a moment on this, on injury prevention and what you guys are doing on injury prevention as we're talking about Deep Blue polyphenol complex. Because with Elsa's case, I've encouraged her to use the Deep Blue polyphenol complex as part of her regular vitamins. So she takes the Long Life Vitality on a daily basis. And in addition, she always takes also a tablet of Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex. And generally, she takes anywhere from 1 to 2 of the long life vitality of every single bottle that's part of that system. And I have found that if she has an injury, it actually resolves much faster. And she also has less injury. So if we're talking about injury prevention, especially if you have people who are very active and even people who are not active, but maybe even more, being a little more proactive, use the long life vitality and use this Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex with it, I think is a very powerful idea. Anybody has any other ideas around that or have used it prophylactically?
Yeah, I can speak on that. I was taking LLV and really helped me with all the physical work at the stand. You know, if I'm taking the LLV regularly, then I don't have the physical pain that I would every day from doing all the physical work. And Ella takes the Deep Blue Polyphenol every single day. And I think it's a wonderful preventative. If she's having some pain, then she doesn't take the LLV, but we might add the LLV in since the Alpha CRS has a lot of the same components, you know, where she might take 2 Deep Blue or use oils a little more. But really, I think taking the polyphenol is a wonderful preventative.
Awesome. And just for those of you who are not familiar with Alpha CRS, that's part of the Lifelong Vitality. And so, yeah, do you want to say anything more about the Lifelong Vitality, Jen? I mean, the 3 components.
Yeah, the Alpha CRS has a lot of similar ingredients as the Deep Blue, just in different amounts. It has a couple extra things in there. It's the cellular vitality portion of the trio. It's great for inflammation, you know, and for pain. I've had people seek me out and be like, "Oh my goodness, doTERRA." It was at a vendor fair. They said, "I've been looking all over for this. There's this one supplement that works so wonderfully on my pain." And we figured it out, and it was before Deep Blue was available, and it was the Alpha CRS. Now she just gets the Deep Blue. But the LLV, you know, it's bioavailable plant nutrients like multivitamin. Then it's the E-Omega, which are the omegas and the essential oils. I love the LLV. I have more energy, you know, so much less pain. That's my main thing with the LLV is less pain and more energy. I think we all want that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and yeah, that's what we're perfect for. So think about LLV, think about Deep Blue as prevention. I think part of it, when I had my injury, yes, it took me a little while to consider to take Deep Blue on a regular basis, but I think my overall health is so much better nowadays that I do recover much faster. So I think that's part of it. Just for a little bit so you know, this is kind of an interesting piece about the Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex. We name it polyphenol, and I just want to go a moment and kind of explain why. They are natural, powerful, water-soluble antioxidants. Okay, so that's a little bit different than the oils. Okay, so that's why it's a different product. It's also in a different capsule. It's different than the oils. And they really combine well with using the oils. So they are antioxidants. And why is it that's so important? Well, there's a couple of components, and I've kind of listed. If you read this piece, you can see it. But for example, resveratrol is one of them that you can also be found in red wine. And we know, for example, that red wine has good components in terms of health. Well, why? It's because the resveratrol is in there. And when they have done a lot of research, actually, and they found it in the whole Mediterranean diet, it is really, they're pretty healthy, right? The people in France are really healthy. And so you can see the resveratrol is part of that because they have more resveratrol in their diet. So they're healthy in that way. Another one is pomegranate. I just wanted to touch upon that too. It's not a key ingredient in this product. So if people ask what is polyphenols, then go back to resveratrol and red wine. That often gives a good explanation. Most people know about it. Also the green tea. There's also some products of green tea that are also healthy in there. And then of course the pomegranate. I think some people pronounce it differently. I think my European there comes in, but it's also, it's known here as the sacred fruit, and I like that. But there's a lot of very, very good components in chemistry to pomegranate juice and or supplements. And so again, that's very powerful in this product. Okay. I'm going to look at the time for a second because we're almost out of time already. So I just want to go over a couple more products. I don't know if you guys have used any of these. This is another one I just want to touch upon, and that's the Mitomax. And that's really for cellular energy. It helps with energy. It also helps with stamina. And with the mitochondria, which is right on a cellular level, it helps with cell support and with energy support there. Anybody has used Mitomax and wants to kind of share an experience with that? Nobody?
I use Mitomax every day. I'm kind of afraid to unmute myself because every time I do, the dogs start barking. But I use it every day, and that is my go-to for energy. I take it with the LLV, and the LLV by itself was helping me a lot. But when I add the Mitomax, I get that extra energy, and it lasts all day.
Really? So how often do you use it, and when do you use it?
I just take, I think it's 2 in the morning.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I love that one. Okay, so Mitomax is another supplement that we can use. I want to go to one more oil before we stop, and that's black pepper. And that's often we think not as much about. So in terms of injury prevention, but also injury taken care of when you have pain and discomfort from injuries, we talked about Deep Blue, right? That's often the main go-to. But there are other oils. Oregano is one. Black pepper is one. I know Jen has always introduced lemongrass with marjoram and frankincense, right? That has been one of the go-to in our team, that we seem to use that a lot. Jen, how did you actually find that combination? Because that's a staple in
well,
it.
I am not really sure how I found that combination. I found it early on and sampled it out to some different people. I don't know if they muscle tested for it or not, but it's just been such a successful blend. And it's interesting that you bring up black pepper, because I love black pepper as well. And I'll add black pepper to those 3 definitely for neuropathy. For a little while, I had every single person that came to me, they had neuropathy, and I love black pepper for that. I've had used black pepper for muscle spasms, and it's worked great. Black pepper is one of my favorites.
Then how have you used it for muscle spasm?
I actually layered it with lemongrass and marjoram. That was not my intention. I was using lemongrass and marjoram. I had sometimes I have terrible muscle spasms, and it's all because of my back injury that I had 8 years ago. And the vitamins help with that some. If I don't drink enough water, then I definitely spasm. I was on a conference call leading one probably about a year ago, and I had such a terrible foot cramp that I couldn't focus. I remember, I don't know if my mom's still on the call. I was like, you guys have to talk on your own. I have to deal with this. I was in so much pain, and I put lemongrass on because, lemongrass, marjoram, those are my go-tos. Marjoram's such a great antispasmodic. Put that on, and it just didn't do anything. And when I put black pepper on it, it completely went away. I mean, and it was a muscle cramp that had lasted probably 3 minutes. I was in excruciating pain, and I was just shocked that the black pepper, it was immediate. And that was not diluting it, but I would dilute it, if I was using it regularly for that. I'm all about dilution. Helps you spread it out a little more, helps it go a little deeper, hold those chemical components in, don't lose as much to the air.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, and black pepper is a hot oil, so be careful when you put it on. It's not as hot as oregano, but it can be pretty spicy. So dilution is, if you put it externally, absolutely dilute it. It's like Jen said, it's awesome. It's really high in monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes. So overall, in terms of inflammatory, it helps, and it's anti-inflammatory. So I think keep that in mind. That's a really powerful one. Anything else I want to say about it before we stop? Because I think we're almost out of time. Yeah, it's 7:31. So here's just some uses they have. By the way, if you're curious about all the slides that I put up, I make it very easy on myself, and I want to make it easy on you. I go for, and if some of you who have not as much experience with these oils, I go to doTERRA.com and I type in the oil. And doTERRA gives me all this information, okay? And then we add our own experiences to it. I think that's important to remember, that you can just go on doTERRA.com and find all the information you need. We have, almost everybody nowadays has websites available. So I didn't notice actually, but black pepper also is recommended here as a great way to relieve anxious feelings. And I never would have thought about black pepper with anxiety. So it's another benefit as you're doing it. And I like it here with juniper berry or cedarwood oil. We talked about cedarwood a lot last week and kind of get that feeling for it. So if you combine cedarwood with black pepper, it can provide a calming and grounding effect on your senses and emotions. So here you go. You can use it for taste, you can use it for pain and discomfort, and you can use it to ground yourself and for emotional support as well.
And I like to say that the black pepper is very smooth. It's a very warm, smooth smell. It's not, people tend to expect it to make them sneeze, like freshly ground pepper, and I don't find it to be that way at all. I find it very warm. It's a warm, smooth smell.
Yeah, and I agree with you there, Jen, and that's kind of interesting to me. Because I expected that too. When I got this first, I expected that black pepper smell, and you're right, it's totally not. And it's not as hot either. I mean, I can ingest black pepper without taking anything else. Like oregano, I'm hurting. I've done it, but I'm hurting. Black pepper, it's not as hot. You be careful with it. Don't expect it to be an easy oil like wild orange or something like that. But it wasn't that hot. That was one of my experiences. Okay, anything else, guys, before we stop? Thanks so much for coming on. We're going to go on with the business call for just a few minutes. But anybody else, before we stop, any other experiences you just want to share about injury prevention and taking care of injuries?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. This is Ava?
Oh, okay. Hi. Yes, hi. How are you? I've used all of the things that you've mentioned mostly. But one thing that I've been using a lot lately since I'm back at the gym 110% is rosemary. My knees with squats, with the heavier weights, have been giving me some grief, and cypress seems to work really well. And then I discovered the other night I put rosemary neat on my one knee, just a drop. Really massaged it in there, and when I woke up the next morning, I expected to, creep out of bed like an old lady, but I didn't. I got out of bed and I was like, oh wow, I love this. So the rosemary, I was reading about the inflammation and how it's helpful for DNA. I don't know the exact words there, but the DNA renewal, healthy renewal. So, or for the cells. But anyway, that cypress and rosemary have been my go-to lately, which is odd because usually I do what Jen introduced me to, the lemongrass and marjoram.
Well, that's awesome, Ava. That's awesome to try some new things. I love rosemary. Actually, I love them both, cypress and rosemary. But I again, to use that in combination with your uses, I mean, that's awesome. I love that idea. So let's not limit ourselves, right? As we are exploring these oils, and as you're trying out these oils, you may need some other components. There may be some other things going on in your body. So listen to your body and what it needs, right? I love that. So, awesome. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thanks guys for coming on. If you want to stay for a little bit, we're going to talk for about 10 minutes, I think, for about a little bit of sharing for our business. So please stay on if you can stay on for any reason, or if you that's fine too if you need to go. But I just want to talk a little bit more about after we've done all this stuff about pain. I think this is going awesome. We're getting more and more people on this call. And I'm really excited that we're getting more and more people on the call, right? And more people participating and more people getting into the oils. This week, we're talking a lot about story in our 6 a.m. calls. So if you want to do more with sharing the oils, please come on our 6 a.m. calls. I will say it every single week, because that's where we really make a difference. And we find so much about what we want to do. Now, I realized something today, and I want to tell you about it. And then I'd love to have some of your input. And if somebody wants to share their story, please, I'd love to hear But let me just say one thing I figured out today. I was talking with Sharon, and we were at the senior center, and the senior center has a little bit of lately hasn't had that many people come, and it was a really good class. I mean, and Sharon is doing an awesome job, but there weren't as many people on, and I was thinking about it, like, what can we do more to kind of promote what we're doing, right? What can we do more to promote who we are and the oils and what we want to do? And the funny thing was that I started saying to Sharon, like, it's on the tip of my tongue. I kind of know what I kind of have the feeling that I know what can be different, what we can do differently. So I'm trying to get in some more light so you guys can see me a little better. And I couldn't think about it. And then I walked outside of the senior center. I was walking to my car, and suddenly I got it in my head. And I was like, I gotta tell Sharon. So I actually walked back into the senior center and started talking to Sharon. And what was that? It was actually Project Touch. I really feel that Project Touch Worldwide is an answer to actually getting way more people involved than we are having right now. I think we need to identify us as Project Touch Worldwide. Of course, we talk about, and what is Project Touch Worldwide? It's really giving that therapeutic touch of the most CPG, right, the most therapeutic oils, and bringing that to families worldwide. That's really what it is, right? That's what we're doing all the way. And I have found that as I'm going into businesses, into healthcare, into other people, the minute I start talking about Project Touch Worldwide, there's a great deal of interest. And for example, tomorrow I'm going to be at Nurses Week at Anne Arundel Medical Center. We're there as Project Touch Worldwide. We're not there as doTERRA. We're there as Project Touch Worldwide. And why do I think that is so important? And I'd love to have some of your feedback and some of your ideas about that. But I think it's important because we have a story, right? Project Touch Worldwide is all about our stories that we have with the therapeutic essential oils and using touch. And I don't care how you use touch. If you do the touch method, if you do like with Mao, the master's touch or the aroma touch or the hand mistake technique, or even just the touch of oils inside. I mean, I don't mind actually going a little bit further than what we usually go in there. But it really is an idea of that we have a mission, that our mission is to bring us these therapeutic oils together with touch to as many people as we can and to the families around us and everything else. Is that striking a bell with you? Is there something else that needs to be added? I feel like we're getting closer to our story as a group. And we all have our individual stories, but I feel that's also a story as a group. Any ideas around that? I'd love to open it up. Nobody? Come on, guys.
What did you ask, Anna Marie? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm asking about this whole idea about pushing out more of Project Touch, right? Project Touch Worldwide, identifying ourselves more with that and saying that to businesses. What are your thoughts around doing that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you feel like we need to do something else? What do you think about that?
Well, after spending 2 days touching each other, I think that's a great idea. And we need t-shirts too.
Yeah.
Well, it's just funny how none of us got tired of it, you know? So if we didn't get tired of it, then other people are lacking touch.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who weren't able to come, please let us know. I want to find a way to get this to you guys, even if it's not a whole 2 days, right? But there's certain components of that I would love to get to you guys. So, and I know some of you are interested. So let me know, and we'll find a way. We'll find a way to do it. Okay, we'll find a way to actually make it happen for your teams. Any other ideas? Shauna, Jen, love to hear some of your ideas. Ava, I know what else is on. It's hard to see.
Well, I really like the idea of presenting, as Project Touch Worldwide, because I'm always going out into the community and doing different events and everything, and I think that it has more substance, has more like meaning. It's a group of people working together, you know, in everything that we do. So I really like that idea.
Anybody
Yeah,
else?
I like it too. I think it's important for us to, at some point, discuss what is happening for the rest of the summer. I don't know if you guys have talked about that at all. I think, a large group of people that are interested in another workshop, which I can certainly do myself, but why not pool our interests and our people like we've done in the past? I know this month it was a combination of Mal coming and you guys going to Pittsburgh.
Right. And we do have June 10th. We do have the room again, by the way. I never said
Okay.
that, but we do it. That's a second Saturday. And so we do
Okay, do we have a topic?
Nope. So you're right, we need to talk about that. I don't think we should do it right now, but let's do that soon.
Yeah. I'm not available that weekend because that's recital weekend, so there's absolutely no way. However, I have a lot of people that would love to come.
Well, let's look at that, Jen, and let's look if we want to do another time, because
Okay.
it's also not a perfect time for me. So maybe if it's early enough, right? We're still in the beginning of May. I think we can shift that around. But let's decide on that soon.
Okay.
And so if
Okay.
anybody has any ideas, please do that. Yes, my son's coming in. Okay, so let's do that soon. And you're right. I think we need to keep those monthly meetings going. I'm excited for those of you who are able to go to Pittsburgh, but at the same time. And I want to say, really, guys, with Mal, please let's find a time. I've talked to I text some people on the Eastern Shore. I can come to the Eastern Shore with him, and we can do a workshop. Okay, and it doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have to be a 2-day one. It can be an hour and a half. But you will learn so much from doing that. And I know that there's a lot of interest in doing touch as well. So let's use that time. He's only going to be here for a month, and then I want to have him come back in the fall. But all the summer he won't be around. So let's do that. Okay, so anything else we want to talk about? Anybody else?
Can I say one more thing, Anna Marie?
Yes, go for it.
In talking about touch, and last month I used AromaTouch a lot for my enrollments. I remember one of my friends, after I gave her an AromaTouch, she said, "You need to give that to everybody," because she said that's what pushed her over. Because I had given her lots of samples before, but until I gave her the AromaTouch, she wasn't willing to sign up.
Wow. Well, that's a positive. You have enrolled many people I know with AromaTouch, and so have I. I mean, I have been doing that. And the funny thought I had is, well, it's not funny. It's actually a very interesting thought. I would love to promote this more with families, right? And I know, Jen, you love this too, but I think we all do. I think with so many of us, AromaTouch has made a big difference in our families. And how about actually that families would touch each other more, right? I mean, for me, like today, working with Tony today, but now was awesome. You guys have a 21-year-old son who's learning how to touch. I mean, his future wife is going to give me big hugs, I hope, in the future. But think about that, right? And his kids. To have a dad that feels comfortable with that and does that, I think it's pretty powerful. So.
Yeah, a couple of the ones that I did last month were a mother-daughter and a husband and a wife. So.
Awesome. So I think that's part of, I also would like to push out for us as Project Touch. And I think we need to talk more about what we see as Project Touch, right? How we identify with it, because it's broad enough that we can have different entry points. But I think what you said, for example, Christy, is to have a mother, a daughter, or a husband and wife, a couple, or whatever it is. I've given it to couples as well. And let's promote that. Let's push that out, because massage seems to be such a realm of only massage therapists. Now, I love massage therapists for sometimes a deeper massage. But if my kid is anxious, and I want to give her an AromaTouch, like in the evening before she goes to bed, I can do that, right? And all of us can, many of us who are on this call can do that. What a gift to give to people, right? I think it's a gift. I think it really is a gift. And I think my son changed so much because of it. My kids have. But I think it's an awesome thing to give to other families. Well, I'd love to give it to more families. Okay. Well, it's 7:46. Anybody has anything else, or anyone wants to share their story before we hang up, or any concerns, or anything you want? Let's just. No? Okay. So I'm going to put out a meeting soon so we can talk a little bit about what we're going to do over the summer. I think that's a really good idea, Jen. And like I said, let me know about Mao and when you would like to do some things with him. And come tomorrow on a 6 a.m. Project Touch call because we're going to have some new stories. Some really awesome stories. We're getting really strong, guys, at identifying your star story, we're calling it this week. A story that has made a huge difference for you. And we're getting really good at telling that story. And so come on the 6 a.m. call if you can, or listen to the recording, but if you can, come on the call, because it will help you identify your story. And today was interesting. I'll just pick on you, Christy, for a second. I won't tell much, but Christy was telling her story, how she got introduced to the oils. And when I heard it, I'm like, that didn't feel, there wasn't enough emotion in there. And like, what's your star? I asked her, is that your star story? Christy, do you remember it? And then of course you had said no. Well, you told another story, right? Can you still talk, Earl? I'm not sure if Christy can still talk. Okay, so it was interesting. So she then told.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was not muted.
Okay.
You want me to share the whole story?
Yes, I'd love you to tell the story.
Okay. So when you asked me, what my star story was, I immediately thought first thing that told me on the essential oils. So I shared the story about Aroma Touch with plantar fasciitis, and immediately when you said, "Is that your star story?" I thought she either knows something or she realizes that I'm not being 100%, sharing my heart. So my story is I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I was on tamoxifen for 5 years. And after going off of tamoxifen, during the time I was on tamoxifen, I had erratic menstrual cycles, and I'd go 6 months without one, or am I getting a lot of feedback, Anne Marie?
You are a little bit, but it's okay.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. So let me regroup here. I went off of the tamoxifen, and after going off of it, I started a menstrual cycle that lasted for 4 months. I went to the doctor. My GYN oncologist did a couple of procedures on me and suggested that I use the Mirena IUD because it releases progesterone. So I did that, but that didn't help. And then I think I talked to Jen or Anna Marie, I can't remember, probably both of them, and decided that I should probably be taking Clary Sage internally and using Clary Calm topically. So I started using those, and everything stopped. So I decided, well, I don't need this IUD anymore because it didn't do what it was supposed to do. So I went to the doctor, and the GYN doctor, she told me she didn't think that I should have it removed, that essential oils were not what I thought they were, and she highly suggested that, she strongly recommended that I keep it and not do the essential oils. And I said, thank you very much, but I still want it removed, and I know what I'm doing. Of course, in the back of my mind, I was a little doubtful. And I went ahead and had it removed and continued to use Clary Sage and Clary Calm, and it continued to work. So I was totally happy. So that's my story.
Well, I love that story, and I'm actually very glad that you shared it again today, because it feels remarkable this morning. It feels again remarkable. That's such a beautiful story.
It's such a beautiful story, and it feels so empowering. Like, as you tell your story, Christy, I just get such a big smile on my face. This journey that you've been on of, trusting the oils and trusting yourself and finding, that way and that support and that empowerment just makes me so happy. So happy for you.
Awesome. You're still muted, dear. I don't know if you want to respond to that.
Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at one time. Mute, cook, mute, cook. Thank you. And it was the support of Jen and Anna Marie, because to be honest, when the doctor said, you don't know what you're doing, I second guessed myself. So.
Yeah, but look at you now.
Support. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to end with that, guys, because that's beautiful. And Jen is so right. I mean, it's so beautiful. And you're doing gorgeous. And you have so many people who are gathering around you right now. And you're making such a difference. And this is only the beginning. So we're really only at the beginning. I talked to somebody this last week, and I said, this really feels like only the beginning. They said, oh, yes, this is really only the beginning. But we're growing, grow big. So we're going to go big, guys. Love it. Just love it. Love your story. Tell your story. If you need any practice with us, or any of us, we're getting really good in our 6 a.m. calls about telling stories. But tell your story. Practice it. Because your story is what matters. What matters truly is your story. We can call ourselves Project Touch Worldwide, but without your story, it all doesn't matter. And it needs to come from the heart. It needs to be your story. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what the emphasis is. It's your story. Doesn't matter how many people are going to impact it. Go for it.
I was at the senior center today, and this lovely couple that enrolled a few weeks ago came. And the gentleman at the end, I was talking about the promotion and how great it is. And, they've already enrolled. But I said, if you have anyone interested, it's a great way. You can enroll them and get some points, and they'll get points. And it's this great promotion. And the man, he's awesome. I love him. And he said, well, I'm not a salesperson. I don't sell, but we're telling everybody about it. He said, I really like stories. And I said, you know what? we're talking about stories this week, but it was just, it was great. I said, that's all you need. I said, you tell your story and, people, and he was like, yeah, well, they relate to you. And it was just a kind of, little magical moment. So just thought I would share that. The whole, I'm not a salesperson, but I like stories. I can tell stories and I can share that way. And he's completely new.
And that's all that matters. Okay. Well, let's go with that. Thank you guys for all coming on. Share our stories, like Jen said. Let's share stories, because that's all that matters. And let's encourage people who we work with to share their story. If you tell it 100 times, tell it 100 times. You will tell it 100 times. So you better love your story, because you will tell it 100 times, if not more, probably 1,000 or even more times. Love you guys. I think you guys are awesome. This is going so beautiful. So let's keep on sharing. The promo is awesome this week, right? This month. You get a $50 for every person that signs up with a 100 PV order. They get a 50 points and you get 50 points. So it's an awesome way to really start. If you have somebody who wants to start now and wants to share, then they can share, and you can easily get 200, 250 or even more. Let's put 500 points if you want to. That's a lot of free orders.
Anna Marie?
Yeah.
They have to sign up as a wellness advocate though, right? Not a wholesale customer.
No, they can be a wholesale customer.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
100%.
Okay, because I thought on the...
Yes, I was wrong. I was wrong in that, because in the beginning it says wellness advocate, but if you actually then click on the post and read further, it says wellness advocate and wholesale. So it doesn't.
Oh, good. I'm glad you clarified that. Thank you.
Yep. Both. But of course, they will have to become a wellness advocate to then share and then get more points, right? So,
right.
If somebody still wants to come in as a wholesale, then and just the 50 points, and then of course they can take it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on the call and sharing. It's awesome. And we'll talk soon again.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
Love you guys. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.